And he says to the Rebbe in Yiddish, Rebbe, benst my engel. For the Rebbe, bless my boy. And the Rebbe looked at me, staring at me. I'm a little boy, not quite 10 years old, and nothing. So my father continued and says, Rebbe, get my engel habracha. And again, nothing. He didn't say anything. And my father continued crying and saying, Rebbe, please. You have to excuse me a little bit. I get also sensitive. Bless my engel. Bless my boy. And the Rebbe blessed me. We came out from the Yechidas, and my father was so happy. And they asked him, the people, that knew my father, what Feivel, what's the simcha? What's this? He says, what do you mean, what's the simcha? Der Rebbe gebenst bei Engel. So hat bleiben lebend, durch den Krieg. We talk about Emunah. This is Emunah Tzadikim. To him, this was like an insurance policy that I will survive the war. Well, the proof is in the pudding. Baruch Hashem. We're here. So let me tell you my story, how I survived. Not why, but how. In 1941, Hitler Yamach Shmuel came into Kovna. Within a few months, we were in the ghetto. We were in the ghetto for a number of years, 3.5 years. During that time, there was many selections. We went into the ghetto with approximately 35,000 Jews in Kovna Ghetto. By the time they liquidated Kovna Ghetto 3.5 years later, in 1944, there were less than 5,000. What happened to the rest? During the 3.5 years in Kovna Ghetto, there were selections, what we called it, akzias. And they used to take out people. Sometimes it was on the excuse of working. Most of the time, they never came back. And our family, who consists of my father and mother, the immediate family, and I had an older sister who was at my grandmother's house. We never met her. We never saw her anymore. And my brother, I have an older brother, he's here in the States, 2 years older than me, myself, and I have a younger brother. So in the ghetto, we were 3 young boys, my father and mother. And during the 3.5 years, somehow we managed to stay together with all the actors. And my father decided that, how many times can you be so lucky and as Gochapotius that we should stay together? And he decided that the best way would be to build a bunker. And he got together with a few friends, neighbors, and we started to build a bunker to hide. So when an aktia would be announced, and a selection, we will hide over there. In March, just about a few weeks before Pesach, 1944, they announced an aktia, and they called it a kinder aktia, but they took away grown-up people too. And my father said, well, now is the time, and let's hide. And we went into the aktia, into the bunker. In the book, I write in detail how it took months to build it. We did it at night. I myself was involved in it because I was they called me a little ginger, a little redhead. I was do everything that nobody wanted to do. I was there right around to doing it. So it was finished and we were into the bunker. And I was there several hours. Unfortunately, somebody pointed where we are from the ghetto, some people, and they found us, and we're out. So now everybody had to go out from the bunker. There were several families, approximately 30 some odd people, men, women, and children. And as we went out, there was 2 SS and 2 large German shepherds. They used to come with the dogs. And right there and then, as we came out, they made a selection right there. And some people were to the right and one to the left. My father, myself, and my younger brother, together with some other people, were on one side. My mother and my older brother, Beryl, and some other grown-up people were on the other side. And my father analyzed right away the situation. And he probably saw that we are not on the right side. So I told you I was a little wild boy, and he tested me a Leibel, run. And that's all I had to hear. I started to run. And the Germans, the Marshmallow, instead of taking the rifle and shoot me, it could have been so easy, they decided, I guess, to have fun. So they ordered the German shepherds, the dogs, to chase me. Guess what? I outran the dogs. That's it. Yes. So, but about 500 feet, 600 feet, they caught up with me. And in background, I hear them, they were laughing. We got a little Yuri, a little Jew, we got a little boy. And from nowhere, I look down, I see a branch from a tree. Because in Kovnegera, it was in the Slabotka area, the rural area. And I bent down while they are holding onto me and growling my pants. And I took the tree and I hit one dog in his schnauzers, his pisk, and he went back to the trainer, and I did the same thing to the other one. And once I was loose, I went into a house in the attic. They looked for me for many, many hours. They couldn't find me, so they let go. Here I am. Number 1, you're counting, right? The rest of the people, my father, my younger brother, and the rest over there, and of course thousands of other people, were taken the next day to an Elizabethan fort on the mountain over there, and they were shot in one big mass grave. We don't get it closed. Fast forward. So now, I came at night. My mother and my brother didn't know where I was. I came in and I knocked on the door when it was quiet, and I came in. What happened, baby? You didn't know where you are? Well, what do you mean, what I was hiding, and when I hear it's quiet, and I'm here. So we were now, my mother, my brother, myself. It's a few weeks before Pesach. We did have some matzah because we baked it a little bit in it's a story. We're not going into today on that. And it was a very, very difficult Pesach. It's a long time to describe. But you go on. Before you turn around, Pesach is over, Shavuos. June 1944, they announced it that it will close down, liquidating the Kovna Ghetto. So they came with big cattle trains, that you probably see them, and they rounded up everybody. A few people managed to hide. A few people went to the partisans, to the forest, but 98% was liquidated with the Kovna Ghetto. And we went straight from the Kovna Ghetto with a big train, a lot of cattle trains. We went straight to a women's camp where everybody went down in the trains, and they separated the women from the men. I was I was just about 13 and a half years old. So I held on to my mother. My brother, who is 2 years older than me, so he went with the man, and my mother cried and teared me away and pushed me. You go with Beryl, because over there, the chances for you to survive is much more than over here with the women. And she won. I went with her, and the last thing I heard her holler to my brother, Beryl, Leibel sollte nicht reingehen in Problemen. I shouldn't get into problems to watch me. And so I ended up with my brother. From there, they took us straight to Landsberg. By the way, the women's camp is called Studhof. Some of you probably heard. Studhof was a women's camp. My mother was there until the end. I heard it from some younger ladies. And a few weeks before the end of the war, she just succumbed. She died from physical heartache, from mentally, from cirrhosis. So we heard afterwards, we were told that she did not make it. So now my brother and I, with some grown-up men from Kovno Ghetto, ended up in Landsberg. Landsberg is a concentration camp that they did physical work. Within 4 or 5 days that we were there, they realized that there are too many children that cannot do physical work. And therefore they surrounded us and put us right away in quarantine in one barrack, locked it up, to take us away. My brother, who realized that I'm there with the boys, he ran at night. There was a little opening, a little window with grates, and he called out my name, and there was enough, maybe 4 inches by 4 inches openings. So he called my name, and he came over and says, what is it? He said, take my tefillin, a little cedar, and have a bild of the Rabbi. Take it with you, because I have tefillin though with a grown-up man, but I don't know where they're taking you. So now I ended up with tefillin, a little cedar, and a picture. The very next day, they took us with open trucks straight to Dachau. This was approximately 137, 138, I don't remember exactly, boys between the ages of 13 and 14. In Dachau, we were there not more than five days. And they did not do anything. They didn't kill us, obviously. I'm here again, you know. And from there, why they let us go, I don't know. I still don't know. But they took us straight over there from Dachau and went again on cattle trains from Dachau. And this was a very, very long convoy. Must have been made about 30 cattle train with people. And we came straight to Auschwitz-Birkenau. You know, Auschwitz is Auschwitz singular in town, and Birkenau is just about 2-3 miles away from Auschwitz. Auschwitz has a concentration camp, but Birkenau, I don't have to tell you what Birkenau meant. Birkenau is a place where they had the crematoriums. Birkenau is where they gassed. But Birkenau did something else which people don't tell the stories. Birkenau was a place that after gassing the people, the crematorium couldn't take so many people, because in 1944, the convoys was so huge and so fast and so furious that they gassed the people, and outside, anybody that was in Birkenau can tell where it was even. They had big big cradles. They used to make big holes and put them all in, put in some gasoline on top and burn them. So that was another method of killing them after they were dead. So now we were on the train. We were not the first train, we were not the last train, sometimes in the middle, maybe in front of us, maybe about 15 or 18 wagons before us. And the sliding door, they opened up, and everybody, how are you? So we went down, we were young kids, so it was very easy for us to jump down. And people that start going straight to the gas chambers. And we were standing over there, and all of a sudden, some of the boys asked me, Leibel, what do we do now? And I say, well, what can I tell you? Why don't you repeat after me? Let's say Shema Yisrael. And you have to understand, because we're talking now, over here, we're talking about the Chayil Sayyid, Shema Torah mitzvahs. From the 137 boys, maybe 20% come from Orthodox families. Kovna was a beautiful city, but not all the Jews were Shema Torah mitzvahs. People don't realize that. Yes, you had Slobodka was there, the yeshivas, there was Bet Midrashim. So they didn't say, you don't know what you're talking. You don't know what. And we're standing there. Now, it took several hours, and you see that the crowd is getting already less. And I said to them, no, you know what? We're just about to have to go now. I say, why don't we line up 5 abreast? And I'll be in front. And let's march in, singing Ani Ma'amin. She said, Leibel, Mr. Meshuggah Gavon, you're crazy, you went off your rocker. They're going to shoot us before we get to the gas chambers. I say, what do you want about that? That'll be the best thing happens to us. And as we are just about to have to go, one by one, I said, let's do what Leibel said. I said, come on, let's do it. So we lined up 5 abreast. And I'm in front, and we're marching, singing Ani Ma'amin. We come to there, and I'm in front, so I say, halt, that means stop, and we're attention. And the 2 SS guys that were there, they went bonkers. They couldn't figure out what to make of us. They never, in the 3.5, 4 years when Birkenau exists, they never experienced a group of boys coming in, marching in, and singing. So they started to look for the papers. Where are we coming from? What are we? Why are we so different? And I was in front, so I heard them talk. They say, well, wohin zijn papieren? Jawohl. Where are the papers? Well, when the Rebbeinu Shalom wants to make miracles, it is in Teva. What took place is a very, very simple thing. It's not so simple, but it has Hashgacha Pratis. The Germans had documentations and reports and paperwork on every transport, where they're coming from. Whether you're coming from Kovna Ghetto, or they're coming from Budapest, or they're coming from Hungary, Romania, Czechoslovakia, it doesn't make any difference. They had papers for that. Now they couldn't find anything. What took place is as follows. By the time we came there, it was already about 5, 6 o'clock. So the guards changed. The people, the Germans that were there all day couldn't wait to get out. So the jeep and the whole box with papers that usually they take it off, this time they forgot, they left it in back on the jeep. So the new guys that took over, they came here now, just started replacing the people, the 2 German officers that were there the whole day, but they took along all the papers. So there was no papers. So they didn't know what to do with us. They figured that maybe Dr. Mengele, Mashmo, maybe he wants to do something, experiments, whatever. And they decided right there and then, instead of sending us to the gas chambers, they said, we'll send them to the showers. So now they had, everybody would have to get undressed. And the only thing that we were allowed to have is the belt and the shoes. In my case, I had a little boots, Russian boots, very wide, that you can put in a lot of small little things. It's also a story, another story by itself. So I had my tefillin, little siddur, and the picture, in the boots. But they knew that you kept little things over there, so they say, now shake it out. By the time we were there already, in the middle of that room was a big pile of small little things like, a brush or a tooth or something, little handy things that one keeps in the house, watches, whatever, a watch. And they told us that we had to shake everything out. And there goes my tefillin with the siddur. I guess was young. I didn't realize what I'm saying. But just about a half an hour ago, they made me sort of a leader. I was leading them. So I tell them, I say, you know what? As soon as I say, yes, let's have a wrestling match, and shouting. Now we're all undressed. And as I said, yes, we started to have a wrestling match. As organized as we were just about 15 minutes ago, that's how wild we were now. And they tried to break us up. I ran behind the two SS men, found it filling on top of the pile, put it back in my boots with the siddur and the picture, and I said, stop. So they realized that we are making fun. We are organized, something that, and you could see that they were happy, smiling, and say, gut haben wir gemacht, ja. That we did the right decision not to tell Sanders to the guest chambers because we are something different. And we went straight to the showers, they gave us the uniform, and we end up in Birkenau, in the camp, and not in the guest chambers. I can't think, That's my nephew. Second day Rosh Hashanah. Up to yesterday, I'm skipping. Second day Rosh Hashanah. And they knew when is the holidays. Dr. Mengele, comes to the camp in Birkenau. At that time it was in Zigeunerlager. Everybody went outside, and we only had to get half undressed on that. And he used to keep a leather whip. He used to keep it in his boots. And he says, right, left, and made right away a separation. And I told you I was I was very small and ausgedacht. So I went with the boys that we realized that this is not the right way, in the right side. So I said goodbye to the chevre, and that's it. Waiting for a truck to take us to the gas chambers. From nowhere came running a SS on a motorcycle with the motorcycle, they had a third wheel with a boat, and he was traveling maybe 100 miles an hour. To me, it sounded like it anyway, because the dust, it took a little while until the dust settled. He saluted to Dr. Mengele Yimach. We couldn't hear what he's saying. He was about 25 feet away. And as he told him something, he went into that little boat and he whisked him away. And here, they were standing and didn't know what to do with us. Whether they should call the truck and take us to the crematorium or take it back. So they made a decision.